There comes a time in every achiever's life when the world shifts again, just when you think you found your rhythm. After the wave of success brought on by the 5-second rule, Mel found herself standing at a new kind of crossroads. The world had started to listen. People were not only quoting her rule, they were applying it, building habits, changing mindsets, launching businesses, all from 5 seconds of courage. But with every new level, there's a new challenge. Mel was being invited to bigger stages. TEDx. Global interviews. Corporate giants. Her words were traveling further than ever. Yet deep inside, she was battling a quieter voice, the one that whispered, "What's next?" You see, the 5-second rule wasn't just a book. It was a piece of her soul. But now the world wanted more. And when the world asks more of you, it's not always applause you hear, it's pressure. Expectations. Doubt. Could she really keep inspiring? Was there more to say? Or was the magic of her message a one-time spark? Mel didn't run from these questions. She sat with them. She listened. And then, she acted. Not with noise. Not with announcements. But with action. She began to go deeper, into neuroscience, behavior patterns, performance psychology. She read more, studied harder, and spoke with even more clarity and authenticity. She wasn't just a speaker anymore, she was becoming a force, someone reshaping the way millions thought about their mornings, their goals, their inner battles. And it wasn't easy. The more she grew, the more eyes were watching. Criticism increased. The spotlight got hotter. But Mel reminded herself of her own words, "You don't have to feel ready. You just have to move." So she moved. She showed up. Even on the hard days. Especially on the hard days. And that is where her second chapter truly begins. You keep waiting. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for the perfect plan. Waiting until you're confident enough, skilled enough, ready enough. But here's what Mel Robbins discovered: life doesn't wait. She spent years of her life sitting in hesitation. Ideas would come, and then fear would arrive a second later, wrapping itself around her ambition like a chain. So, she would wait. And wait. And do nothing. Until one cold morning, lying in bed, dreading her reality, she realized something painfully honest: no one is coming to save me. Not the right time, not the right mood, not even motivation. If she didn't move, nothing would. That moment became the seed of the 5-second rule. A simple action that changed everything. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Move. No permission. No debate. No overthinking. Just action. She started small. Getting out of bed on time. Taking the first step toward her goals. Making one call. Writing one page. And slowly, action began to outrun anxiety. People think success is made of big, flashy wins. But Mel discovered it's built on tiny moments, thousands of them, where you choose to move before your mind talks you out of it. That's the truth no one tells you. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need a master plan. You just need a few seconds of courage. And once you learn to take control of those seconds, you take control of your life. So stop waiting. Life doesn't begin when the fear goes away. It begins when you stop listening to it. We don't fail because we lack potential. We fail because we hesitate. Mel Robbins didn't always understand that. Like most of us, she blamed her failures on external things: bad luck, wrong timing, not enough resources. But the truth was much simpler, and harder to admit. She was hesitating. Every single day. Whenever she had an idea, a spark, a vision, she paused. And in that pause, fear took over. The voice in her head would whisper. "You're not good enough. What if it doesn't work? Maybe tomorrow. But, maybe tomorrow, is the most dangerous lie we tell ourselves. Mel began to study her own behavior. Why was it that every time she wanted to change, she would freeze? The answer was buried in our biology. The brain is designed to protect you from risk. And what does it consider a risk? Anything unfamiliar. Anything uncomfortable. Anything that demands growth. So when you say, I want to start that business, your brain says, too risky. Stay safe. And you hesitate. And you lose. Over time, hesitation became a habit. And habits shape our lives more than intentions ever do. But here's what changed everything for her. Realizing that habits can be reprogrammed. The 5-second rule wasn't just a trick, it was a tool to rewire her mind. By acting before the hesitation kicked in, she was training her brain to trust action over fear. To favor momentum over perfection. To value growth over comfort. And slowly, that hesitation, it lost its power. She began saying yes more often. Started raising her hand in meetings. Taking calls she used to avoid. Trying things she didn't feel ready for. And guess what? The world didn't end. Her confidence grew. Because confidence isn't built through success. It's built through action. One small act of courage at a time. Mel turned hesitation into movement. And movement became her superpower. Courage is not something you're born with. It's not some magical trait that a few lucky people just have. Courage is a muscle. And like any muscle, it gets stronger the more you use it. Mel Robbins wasn't always courageous. There was a time when fear ruled her decisions. When self-doubt sat at the center of every choice. And every day she waited for clarity, for the right moment, for confidence. But the truth? Confidence doesn't come first. Action does. And that action, even the smallest step, is what starts building courage. One step out of bed. One hand raised in a room full of silence. One yes when your heart is pounding. That's how courage begins. When Mel first started using the 5-second rule, it wasn't about being fearless. It was about acting despite the fear. She realized that fear was just a signal. Not a stop sign, a green light. A signal that said, this matters. This could grow you. This is unfamiliar, which means it's powerful. And once she learned to lean into that feeling, her life began to shift. She started saying no to things that drained her. And yes to things that scared her, but aligned with her goals. She began taking bold decisions, not because she felt ready, but because she had trained her mind to act anyway. That's where real change begins, not in comfort, not in knowing everything, but in choosing movement over waiting. Mel teaches that we don't lack motivation, we lack training. We haven't trained our minds to take control. We've trained ourselves to sit back, scroll, overthink. But once you interrupt that cycle, once you take that first action, your brain starts rewiring itself. And courage becomes easier. Not because life gets easier. But because you get stronger. Every time you push through that hesitation, you're building mental strength. You're proving to yourself that you are capable. And that proof, it becomes your foundation. So if you're waiting to feel brave, stop. Start with one small act. One moment where you push yourself. And do it again. And again. Because courage isn't a gift. It's a skill. And the more you practice it, the more it becomes who you are. There's a moment, small, silent, right before every decision. A moment where you either move, or make an excuse. Mel Robbins calls that the most powerful second of your life. Because in that space, you decide who you're going to be. Will you hit snooze? Or will you rise? Will you speak up? Or stay silent? Will you act? Or let the fear drive again? For Mel, understanding that the choice was always hers, was life-changing. She realized she wasn't stuck because of circumstances. She was stuck because of hesitation. And that hesitation, it kills dreams quietly. It doesn't shout. It whispers. Maybe later. You're not ready. What if you fail? But Mel learned to shut that voice down. With action. That's what the 5-second rule really is. It's not just counting. It's reclaiming control over your mind. It's beating your brain before it talks you out of greatness. Every time you count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You interrupt doubt. You override fear. You shift from autopilot to purpose. Mel started applying this rule to everything. Waking up. Working out. Calling clients. Speaking publicly. Writing a book. Not because it was easy, but because she had a tool. A tool that reminded her, the choice is always yours. You can choose to stay the same, or choose to grow. You can let life happen to you, or start happening to life. Mel believes most people aren't lazy. They're overwhelmed. Paralyzed by too many options, too many fears, too many voices. But once you learn to act before overthinking sets in, you start to trust yourself again. The power isn't in motivation. Motivation is fleeting. The power is in decision. And the truth is, you're one decision away from a totally different life. One move. One call. One brave yes. That's all it takes. So if you feel stuck today, remember this. You don't need to know everything. You don't need to be fearless. You just need 5 seconds of courage. And that decision, that tiny decision, can change everything. Most people think fear is a sign to stop. To turn back. To play it safe. But Mel Robbins learned something powerful. Fear is a liar. It doesn't protect you, it paralyzes you. It doesn't guide you, it controls you. And worst of all, it dresses up as logic. It's not the right time. You need more experience. What will people think? Mel believed these lies once. She let fear dictate her choices. And slowly, she started to disappear behind excuses. But then she realized something no one had ever told her. Fear will always be there. You just have to stop listening. She started to feel the fear. But act anyway. That's what courage really is. Not the absence of fear, but action despite fear. When she stepped on stage for her first speech, her hands shook. Her voice trembled. But she counted down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And she stepped forward. One small move. And everything began to change. Mel says, fear is a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. The more she acted despite fear, the more powerful she became. She stopped asking, what if it goes wrong? And started asking, what if it goes right? That shift changed her life. She launched a business. Wrote a best-selling book. Spoke in front of thousands. And helped millions. Not because she was fearless. But because she no longer let fear make her decisions. You see, friend, fear isn't a wall. It's a door. And the 5-second rule is the key. Every time you count down and move, you push that door open. You remind fear that it doesn't get to decide anymore. Mel believes your life begins the moment you stop waiting for permission. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to act. So next time fear whispers, don't try. Stay small. Wait. You whisper louder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Because the fear won't go away. But neither will your dreams. And only one of them gets to win. Most people think their thoughts are facts. But Mel Robbins discovered a truth that changed everything. Your brain is not your boss. Your brain is designed to protect you. Not push you forward. It looks for danger. Even when there isn't any. So when you dream big. When you decide to wake up early. To speak up. To launch something new. Your brain screams. No. That's risky. It's not because you're weak. It's because your brain is doing its job. But here's the good news. You can override it. Mel explains. Every time you hesitate, the brain floods your body with stress. And in just 5 seconds, it will talk you out of anything brave. That's why she created the 5-second rule. To interrupt that pattern. To break that signal. To take power back. When you say 5-4-3-2-1 and move, you switch control from your fear-based brain to your decision-making mind. And that's where change begins. Mel practiced this daily. She trained her brain to follow her lead. Not the other way around. She taught herself to get up with the alarm. To speak even when scared. To write even when uninspired. To choose what's right, not what's easy. She learned how to act without waiting to feel like it. Because feelings are temporary, but actions create legacy. Think about it. How many dreams have died? Because someone waited to feel motivated? Mel says. Stop negotiating with your mind. If something matters, act on it. You don't need to feel confident. You don't need perfect timing. You just need to move. Because when you move first, confidence follows. Clarity follows. Success follows. The 5-second rule is not magic. It's science. It's courage. It's your way out of the loop. So next time your brain says, you can't. You're not ready. You'll fail. You answer back. Watch me. Then count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Your brain might not like it. But your future will thank you. Every journey has a turning point. For Mel Robbins, that moment came when she realized. Fear is not the enemy, inaction is. She spent years stuck in patterns. Avoiding hard conversations. Skipping chances. Doubting herself. But fear wasn't the problem. Waiting was. Mel says. You can be scared and still take action. You don't have to feel brave. You just have to move. That one shift changed everything. Her fears didn't vanish. But her power grew stronger. With every 5-4-3-2-1, she built momentum. Momentum that created habits. Habits that shaped a new life. She became a best-selling author. A global speaker. A coach to millions. But more than titles. She found freedom. The freedom to speak her truth. To raise her kids with confidence. To love herself, flaws and all. And it all started with one decision. Not a perfect plan. Not a huge leap. Just one small, brave choice. Made in 5 seconds. Mel reminds us. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to win the next moment. That's what the 5-second rule does. It brings power back to the moment. To you. When you're tired, but the alarm rings, 5-4-3-2-1, get up. When doubt creeps in, 5-4-3-2-1, keep going. When fear whispers, 5-4-3-2-1, speak up. With time. You stop overthinking. You stop holding back. You stop waiting for permission. Because now, you know who's in control. You are. Mel's story isn't about being fearless. It's about being bold in the face of fear. She turned breakdown into breakthrough. Silence into a message. Insecurity into impact. And now, she passes that gift to you. Every time you hear that inner resistance. Every time you're tempted to hit snooze on your goals. Remember this. 1 second can change your mood. 5 seconds can change your direction. And one brave moment can change your life. So don't wait for the perfect time. It doesn't exist. Just count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take the leap. Your future is waiting. And it's counting on you.